Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm back with another layout using up some of my older supplies. And I'm going to start this layout with a cut file. This is from an Etsy store called Make Paper Art. And it's just a really cute circle design of arrows and little tiny circles. And I cut it full size on some textured white cardstock here, and I'm going to use it as a stencil. And so I'm going to take some modeling paste and just scrape right over the stencil onto another sheet of white cardstock. My base cardstock is thicker and it's smooth. I believe it's the Marshmallow Basil cardstock. It's pretty thick and it's really good at holding mixed media and liquids and paints and things like that. I actually started this layout about 2 months ago and I just never got around to finishing it, so I set it aside and I finally had some time to come back and finish it. And so I'm finally ready to show you the tutorial on how I did it. Now, it's going to wind up turning out completely different than my original thought, but that's okay. Sometimes that's the beauty of working on a layout, is it just kind of takes on a mind of its own and you wind up with something different, and that's okay. I'm just cleaning up some of the edges here with my modeling paste, because when you use a paper stencil, sometimes it will leak and bleed underneath it, but that's okay. So I let that dry, and now I'm going to give it a coat of clear gesso, and I'm just going to use a wide dry brush to kind of brush it on. The modeling paste was pretty much dry, but I didn't want to use my finger to smudge or scrape something really like my palette knife, because I didn't want to take the chance and flatten out or smudge any of that modeling paste. Now here's where my stash comes in. Do you remember the Dear Lizzie Daydreamer collection? It was one of my all-time favorite Dear Lizzies, and this is why I have cut into it and I hoarded it, and you can see here I saved pretty much all of it. The cover to my paper pad is not even attached anymore, but I love this collection and I never wanted to throw any of it away. And I still have quite a bit of the paper left. I don't think I have any embellishments or anything like that. Just maybe I have some stickers, but I didn't even dig those out. I just went for the paper. And I just kind of went through and picked out things that just sort of jumped out at me at the moment. And those flowers just said, hey, cut me out, use me. And so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to fussy cut out what I can from this leftover pattern paper here. And then there was another sheet of flowers in there that I'm going to cut out as well. And so I got a couple of the darker blue flowers. And then this is the American Crafts Fifth and Frolic collection. And it's another old one. It's probably about the same age as this Dear Lizzie collection. And again, I was just looking for things to fussy cut. I just wanted to see what jumped out at me. And even though these are completely different flowers than the ones I've already cut out, I thought, you know what, I'm going to challenge myself to make these work together and sort of create a lot of a floral type background. And I'm going to kind of mix and match with that background that I already made. Now, I went through and decided that I was going to pull in some more of these papers. I went for pinks, blues, and yellows, kind of the colors that I've cut out that are already in the flowers. And I just kind of went for it. This is a kind of a total random, one of those layouts where I don't really know why I did certain things. I just started cutting strips and I thought I'm going to stick these over on the right hand side and kind of base my design over on the side. Since I've got the modeling paste on that side as well, I thought I would kind of make a flower burst kind of coming out of the side there. And at this point, I don't even know if I like this. Do I like these flowers together? Do they even match? Does it bug me that they're not the same type of flower? Didn't bug me that much because I'm going to make it work. Now, I want these strips to be kind of crooked. I didn't want them to be perfectly straight. And what's going to wind up happening is, yeah, I grabbed the wrong gesso. I meant to grab the white gesso and I got a big blob of clear. So I'm just going to clean that up. I do that all the time. They're both sitting right in front of me all the time, and I usually grab the wrong one first. Now, I know I've already added gesso, but I decided that I wanted to kind of smudge up some of the paper strips, and so that's why I grabbed the white here, so I can kind of add some texture and some stuff to the strips. And you're probably thinking, what in the heck is this layout going to look like? And that's what I was thinking at this point. Now here's where I start to add in all kinds of color. I went for my shimmers, and I'm going to go for mostly the three main colors in those flowers. The darker blue color, the pinks, and the yellows. And of course, those are always my three favorite colors. I'm also going to add in some Distress Oxide here. And I just want different shades of blue. And I love this technique on top of modeling paste because you can really see the shape of it come to life on that white background as you start to add the color and just kind of let it run and drip around those raised shapes. And I know this looks like just a big blob of messy color because that's what it is at this point. I almost threw this away. And I honestly think that this is why it took me 2 months to make this layout, because I got to a point where I thought, I do not like this. I tried to like it, but I didn't. And so I just put it aside. That's exactly what happened. I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I don't want to throw it away. I'm just going to put it away, work on some other assignments and some other layouts, and come back to it later and see if I can look at it with fresh eyes and see if I need to change it or add anything to it. Now you can see I'm adding quite a bit of water. All that gesso that I added is making this possible, because if you usually add this much water just to plain paper, it's going to soak right through it and start to rip and tear it. It's going to warp. And the gesso really saves your paper and allows it to run and blend and kind of just do all these magical properties without it ruining everything. So here I go adding in the yellow and the pink. And again, I know it looks like I have just went overboard and covered way too much paper. But what's going to happen is I'm going to wind up covering up quite a bit of it when I start to add in those flowers and my photos. I'm going to use 2 color photos here. And the sad part about this is I wind up basically covering up most of that modeling paste. And that's okay, you know, it happens. Sometimes, like I said, this totally changes from what I originally had planned. And I think that's perfectly fine. Sometimes things get covered up and it's fine. Now I wanted to kind of fade out a little bit of the edges here, so I go back over it with more white gesso. I think this layout has the most gesso I've ever used. It seems like gesso here, gesso there. Yeah. Anyway, then I put it away for a little bit. This was like the same day, a couple hours later. I came back and thought maybe I want to turn it this way. So I kind of toyed with that idea. I go back to the sunshine. I just saw the word sunshine and said it. Fifth and Frolic collection. And I think I'm going to fussy cut out Happy Little Life. And I'm going to use that as my title. It's always fun to, you know, use things that you can cut for your title just to get something different. I don't always feel like using thickers or stickers. And if I see something on paper, I'm going to go for it. So here's kind of what my idea is going to wind up looking like. Basically a bunch of flowers. I'm going to add a little cluster over to the left and kind of wedge my title in between there. I decided to do some stitching. I thought maybe this might enhance the look of the modeling paste, since I've got those circles and triangles kind of going in a circular motion. I thought I would kind of echo that with some stitching. And you can still see the stitching in the end, but like I said, a lot of the modeling paste gets covered up, and I'm not too worried about it because, like I said, when I first started, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I was just in the mood to use some modeling paste and create the background, and things just progressed from there. So I love these pictures. These are some of my favorite pictures of Reese. She just looks so cute, and sometimes I get the best smiles out of my girls when I just kind of pull them close and snuggle them to me and kind of tickle them and give them little kisses, and I just have to start snapping my pictures, and sometimes I just get the best pictures. And this was a couple years ago. Oh, she just looks so happy and so cute, and I had to print these in color since a lot of times I'll print in black and white, but these, I like the yellow, and I'm wearing a pink shirt, so it's just got some of my favorite colors in it, and they were nice and clear, and I wanted to, you know, focus on using those colors and kind of pulling colors from papers and things to enhance the photos. So I'm going to stack the photos kind of like you see here, one on top of the other, and I'm going to come in with some tangled thread. I think I've got yellow, pink, And I might use the blue, I don't remember. I haven't set it aside yet. This is me still working on this a couple months ago. So I haven't got to the point yet where I need to just take a break from it. I'm going to go ahead and start to glue down the flowers. And you can see now how when I was doing all of that mixed media, it was just overkill. It looked way too much. But when you start to add things back on top of it, it looks different. You know, a lot of it's covered up, so you can only see bits and pieces of it. And I still think I did too much blue kind of coming over into the middle of the page, but I'm going to wind up covering up a lot of that with the title. And so it all works out in the end. This is blue thread I've got going on over here on this cluster on the left. And even though, like I said, these flowers are totally different and they don't even match as far as the style of flower, I don't know. I still like the way it looks. It works. It just looks like a bunch of beautiful flowers, and I'm fine with it. I'm going to glue down Happy Little Life, and that's going to be my title. And then I'm going to come in with some sequins. These are from Spiegel Mom's Scraps. These are some old collections of sequins, so I'm not even sure if she still has these, but she is consistently getting all kinds of beautiful sequin mixes in her shop. So chances are you can't get these exact mixes, but you can still find those colors. And here you can just see some of the sequins. I just kind of scattered them around like you would enamel dots. And they just add a little bit of texture. Actually, they add a lot of texture and some really fun shine. So I'm going to water down some of the Distress Oxide and add some splatters. And then I'm going to come in with my journaling. I think the splatters in my journaling was the last thing I did, and I just finished this a few days ago. So most of it I did leave, and I just kind of added finishing touches. I did my journaling with a silver pen, and I called it finished. And see, I love how it turned out. I don't think the mixed media was too much once I got everything back on top of it, but I think it just works. I love the flowers, even though the modeling paste, you can still kind of see it, like right there, but the bulk of it did get covered up, and I'm perfectly okay with it. I think it turned out really pretty. You can see some stitching that I did there on the side. But yeah, I really didn't use a lot of embellishments. It was mostly paper. And so it's fun to just dig through your stash and see what you got. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions at all, I appreciate you so much for watching and commenting, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much.